Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
In a world where fans fight over whether to call it football, or soccer, two German men defy the odds and call it Fußball. Bringing you inside the German-American football experience. And now, here are your hosts, the Schnitzel Boys.
Yep, hello.
Hi, that music was too low. I apologize.
Okay. It wouldn't be a Schnitzel Boys Monday without a little bit of a...
If we didn't fuck it up a little bit.
We didn't futz it up a little bit with our sound levels. We're just doing level check beforehand. I'm probably still too loud, too quiet.
No, you're good. I think you're good.
Sound good? Sound good? All right. I can't hear myself. Usually I can hear myself. I can't really hear myself.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. That's good. Let's keep it at that. I'll just keep it at that. How about that? How about that? Thing. Okay. Welcome to Schnitzel Boys Monday night. Deutschland edition, their tabletopper.
Yeah.
However, we have a little...
Hashtag Meisterschaftskampf. Meisterkampf.
Hashtag Meisterkampfstag.
Hashtag.
We had a three-way tie up top, and we had a three-way tie at the bottom, pretty much, with one notable exception. And now we're with a two-way tie. That's the big news, the big game. But you know what? We have a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of Schnitzel Boys housekeeping to do ahead of time, Bjorn. Yeah, for those of you...
Should I slowly rise?
Slowly rise.
Oh.
Look at that. Hey-o. For the listeners at home, here in our visual aspect in our live show, Bjorn is showing off brand new Schnitzel Boys t-shirt. All right, we got t-shirts, folks. We got t-shirts. All right. I got mine. Here on the side here. Now, this was an early mock-up. I'm not really a t-shirt designer, you know. Mostly everything I do in the Schnitzel Boys is chock full of mistakes, and there are better people doing better things, but I'm doing my best, okay? I would say I'm pretty certain. So for the listeners at home, the t-shirt is essentially our logo put really big over a shirt, which
full body. This is like the only similar shirt that I have that has the print. You know, because oftentimes you get t-shirts that are cotton and they're then they have something printed on the front, like some kind of a logo or
right.
But this one is one of those full print, edge to edge. The only other one I have of those is of like that I've worn for Halloween is of a very ripped man
guy,
with abs and so that also is always a good success, especially when you wear it under something. It sort of looks like the real thing and people are like, whoa. Anyway, so this is of that ilk, and the material has that feel to it, but it's nice. It feels nice. I recommend it. It's
surprisingly difficult to find a t-shirt company that'll do a full photo thing.
Right.
All t-shirt companies want it very simple, a little like square in the middle, which we can do too. But I found a company, a little factory that could in the old country, China, and they a little hard to do a little bit of a communication error going back and forth. I didn't really get 100% how it worked, but I was able to pull off a couple. We'll call these mock-ups. I tried to reverse it, so it's the German and American flag blending together on both sides of the shirt with the logo just itself in front. The collar is white. I thought I put it in to be black because a black collar would have made a little bit more sense. The white collar sticks out a little bit. So for our new edit, I'll turn to a black collar.
I'm a very white person, so it blends in on that side.
Me too. Thankfully, it's not that big of a deal. And the other thing is I'm probably going to make the logo a little smaller. right? Because it seems like
Okay.
it's a little bit on the bigger side, right? Or am I wrong?
Let me slowly rise again for another
Yeah.
look.
I mean, it looks good, but it's
Well, I mean, I have the girth to support all of it.
well, if you got some girth, I've got the rest of the girth. But maybe we'll talk about that. And then the other thing is maybe on the back I'll put like a YouTube channel, like and subscribe or somewhere. You know what I mean? Because right now people look at that and they're like, okay. I mean, it says
Okay,
American
and now
Football
what?
Show on the bottom, but doesn't say where to get it or anything. It's not like it says like live on YouTube, So maybe on back I'll add a live on YouTube. What do you think?
But I
What
mean,
would
if you, I think it's fine because if you Google us, we're not hard to find.
We might be. Our SEO might need some improvement.
What happens if the Schnitzel, if you put the Schnitzel Boys into Google?
Yeah, do it. I honestly don't know. Hopefully it's us. Hopefully it's a bunch of us.
The top hit
Is us?
Yep.
Hey-o! We did it.
Yeah, I don't think we need, even if you leave out the, if you just put Schnitzel Boys, yeah, it's not a problem. Not currently a problem.
Our SEO is okay, folks. Our SEO is okay. Excellent. I've
been
Google.
Worked on that all day today.
Did you really? I was going to say, we need it. A couple of days ago, I was with a friend, and he's like, well, let's Google like English language, German soccer podcasts, or all the German Bundesliga, like all these different things in Google where we should come up, and we came up on like none of them. So it was always like it was just podcast lists with other podcasts on.
But if you know the Schnitzel Boys, then that's it. That's what you need to know.
It might be a restaurant in Wisconsin. Since we started the Schnitzel Boys channel, someone else started a channel called Schnitzel Boys. I don't know what they're doing.
They are not coming up on Google.
Yeah, they shouldn't because they better recognize there's only one the Schnitzel Boys, and it's your boys Stefan and Bjorn. Okay, so we got T-shirts. Whether it's available as merch, we're still organizing that. Way back at the beginning, someone asked for merch, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll coordinate that, but I didn't really know how or what. So we will maybe get a merch link up because why not? Maybe work with a Teespring, one of those companies, and try to get maybe a couple different shirt designs out there, a couple simple ones. But for right now, we've got these big full mock-ups. If you want a shirt, I can order one for you. Email me. Email us at schnitzelboyspod@gmail.com, and I can coordinate that for you. But we'll keep it in our pilot. Right now, we're in our pilot test phase of Schnitzel Boys merch.
I love it.
Okay, so that was.
I'm gonna sleep. I'm gonna sleep in this tonight.
Please, it's the size of a. It's the size of a
nightgown.
Of a nightgown.
A Nachthemd. Nachthemdgröße. That's the next step. Schnitzel Boys Nachthemd.
The next Sprachgefühl. Nachthemdgröße. Okay, so before we get started in the news, by the way, I have a little bone to pick. I've got a bone to pick, Bjorn. So you turned me on. No, not with you.
Okay.
You and I both have a bone to pick with Raphael Honigstein. Okay.
Oh, Beer and Honey.
Beer and Honey. So you turned me on to this new podcast because finding English language German soccer podcasts are hard to come by, which is why we're here. We're here for you guys. We're servicing you. But anyway, you mentioned Beer and Honey, so I found it. I don't know 100% how you found it, but I found it through you.
I follow Christoph Biermann on Twitter because he is because he's written a couple books that I enjoy, and he is a man of Bochum. He's a Bochum guy. So those are good reasons to follow somebody on Twitter. So I do.
What's that famous singer again? The Bochum singer who has the Bochum song?
Herbert Grönemeyer.
Herbert Grönemeyer. Him and Herbert Grönemeyer are the Bochum Hall of Fame. Maybe Bjorn Bellenbaum. Maybe my dad. Maybe me. Who knows?
Definitely not me. They wouldn't even accept me as a member.
Oh, no. So we're changing that. Anyway, great podcast. But it's like two English-speaking dudes, like journalists, not like us, real journalists. However, it's well-produced, whatever. But the first segment they have is called Fußballgespräch. It's called Fußballdeutsch. And where they introduce terms that they're like, essentially, it's our Sprachgefühl segment. They just ripped it off. They just call it Fußballdeutsch. And I forgot what their last one was, but it was like a term, exactly what our Sprachgefühl segment would be. And I'm like, listen, if you're going to steal our writing, at least give us a credit. You know
No,
what I
but
mean?
that's not. This is not. This is not. This is not a source of consternation. This is good. It's a good thing. We're onto something.
Yeah, we're on to being geniuses, so more popular geniuses can steal us for no credit and really monetize off of it. So
But
well
credit. I mean, what like credit is credit is cheap.
done. But in all seriousness, though, I'm being a little funny here. Beer and Honey is a great podcast. Like it, I highly recommend it. Plug in it, and hopefully they'll plug us back if they ever
I
figure
mean,
out who we are.
Christoph Biermann, he just has a dry. He's just a
Right.
Yeah, he's just a Ruhrgebiets dude. He's just very dry, and yeah, I enjoy him. I guess we could make this a Sprachgefühl. He had a tweet that said, mit so einer, watching the Bochum game this weekend, mit so einer Labber-Verteidigung steigt man halt ab.
Translate, please.
Was his tweet. And I was like, how is Google, because this was on Twitter, I was like, how is Twitter going to translate this? And it completely fell short. Like I couldn't even translate a Labba defense. I guess it just means a shitty,
What
like
is Labba?
Labba, I don't know, like just lackadaisical, I suppose.
Oh, okay.
It's pot for lackadaisical. With this kind of lackadaisical defending, you get relegated, is what he's saying, and very much so. But the way he put it, Twitter Translate or Google Translate was totally overmatched, and I thought that was funny.
What I will say, though, you mentioned he's dry and stuff. All Germans are dry. Like he represents what I would say, because my dad's in that same area, and that's just German. That's what German sense of humor is. People in English speaking world, I'm trying to be a little bit more enunciate a little bit better. People in the English speaking world have a stereotype where Germans aren't funny, but the humor is different. Germans are funny, but it's a very dry sense of humor, and I would say that it comes from a negativity, first off, where maybe a lot of modern day humor comes from more of a positivity, but it comes from a very negative, dry, cynical point of view. That's like German comedy in a nutshell. And I think Biamann's a perfect example of like that kind of behavior. He's just got that in him. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would say. I don't know if it's I think some extent it comes from, I don't know if it's negativity or cynicism. It's just sort of a resignedness, maybe.
There's old family movies. There's old family movies of my uncle. This is from like the early 90s. I think I dug these up somewhere. Of him going to the DDR. I don't know where they were. If they were at Rostock or Leipzig or something. And he zooms into these old Stalinistic, boring, square, like hobo buildings that they would build in the old East Germany. And in German, he'd be like, look at the amazing creativity of these buildings, or something like that. Something like that. And to me, and like he's speaking it very much like, all right, they're the buildings bursting in color or something. That's what he would say.
Right.
As
so
an irony. And that's to me like very dry
but just
humor.
Completely straight. Yeah,
100%.
Exactly. Right.
He's not doing wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He's just zooming in, and we're just like,
it's
guck mal, da sind die Building mit die große Farben or something like that, And then you just move on to some other crap, and the whole point is obviously not correct. It's like
right.
It's the opposite of it. That's funny.
Yeah, for sure, sarcasm, but very dry sarcasm. Yeah, I would say that's pretty typical.
We got Xander on the chat. Hi, I support Mainz. Hey, Xander. How you doing, bud? Welcome here to Schnitzel Night. It's party. I'm so glad you brought up Mainz because I wanted to talk Mainz today because Mainz is crushing it. Mainz has been doing a really, really great Mainzer, right? Isn't that how they say it down there? Mainzer, the people from Mainz, Mainzer. I was lucky enough to have gone to a Mainz game last season. I was at Mainz versus Frankfurt. I had a great time. I thought it would be a dead rubber game. It ended up being a blast because Mainz and Frankfurt are an hour apart. They're neighbors. So it was kind of like a regional derby match. I had a great time, and I love Mainz. Smaller club, Party Club, Party City. Are they a party club? I know they're the club of the Party City, but I don't know if they're like a party college. Are they a party club? Is practice end early so they go out and get beers or something? I don't know. But Mainz, great family club, great family atmosphere. When I was there last year, it was the end of the season. And when the game was over, all the players that were leaving, they all got a last sort of ovation. They got to run around the field and say goodbye to the fans and stuff. It was nice. You know, it was not what you expect. Usually, like in MLS, at the end of a Red Bull season, we don't say goodbye to Sean Davis. Just a week later, we see the news that he's gone. He's to Nashville or something. So, Xander, willkommen, welcome to Schnitzel Boys. How do you feel about Mainz?
So,
let us know.
Mainz beat Gladbach 4-0 because Gladbach can only beat Bayern.
I know, isn't that crazy?
So weird.
Daniel Faka, the Gladbach coach in post-match, just said, yeah, we did a lot of mistakes, which is such an easy thing to say. It's like, yeah, I would say 4 mistakes.
We mistake.
Right?
We mistake a lot.
We mistake a lot.
We mistake much mistake.
So, Xander, tell us what's going on right at Mainz. Why is Mainz slowly but surely? They're 8th place, I think. They're the little club that could
8th
this
place.
season.
Yeah, they're making their way. They're making their way up.
Making
but it's like,
up.
I mean, what can you make of all these teams in the middle of the table? We thought Köln was good. They started the year well, but now they lost at home to Wolfsburg. They're sort of. It's very feast or famine for a lot of these teams. There's not a lot of consistency.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Bundesliga, right? They are to be predicted. We had, I guess we should start with the big game, right? We had one big mega match over the weekend, and that was number 1 versus number 2 or something.
Yeah.
Number 1 versus number 3. Everyone was tied on points between Dortmund, but also Bayern München and Union Berlin, the mighty Bayern München. And talk about little engine that could, Union Berlin. It was in München. It was a snowy day in München.
And we were all hyped up for it. And then it went the way these things usually go.
The way these things go. I think by minute 20, it was 2-0 already, right? Somebody was like, well, this game's done with. I'm going to play a little something for you, Bjorn. Oh. And I'd love to, can you act as Mr. Translator?
Please. I'll try my best.
You're going to do it. It's a little tricky because the dude has a thick Swiss accent.
Oh, boy.
One of my favorites. But this is as we try to do a little bit more accessible content here on the Schnitzel Boys.
Analyse ist heute einfach. Wir hatten einfach keine Chance. Bayern war 2-3 Klassen besser heute wie wir. Ich glaube, bis zum 1-0 ging es noch, obwohl wir da schon auch dieses nötige Spielglück brauchten. Was mich dann ein bisschen genervt hat, war das Gegentor Nummer 2 und 3 vor der Pause. Das war aus meiner Sicht nicht zwingend unnötig. Haben wir es ihnen zu einfach gemacht.
Yeah, this is a Swiss man trying to speak proper German.
Oh, so he's putting on.
So he said, just to quickly translate, he said, the analysis of this game is easy. We had no chance. Bayern were 1 or 2 or 3 classes above Union, he says. And, up to their first goal, it was all right. They did pretty well until then. And then what really frustrated him was goals 2 and 3 in quick succession. And then after that, obviously, that was it. And they really deserved the victory. And that's it. Yeah, I mean, that's how I saw it too. It's not that. And exactly what he's saying, up to the first goal, it seemed pretty close. Union had some chances. It was up and down, but then that's just often what happens.
Well, I mean, Bayern München has a real depth to it. You know, they lose to Gladbach because for whatever reason, Gladbach, I think there's a psychological aspect to it or something. But for all the other clubs, you know, they just lose to the mighty Bayern, you know. They had a bunch of draws at the beginning of the Rückrunde, which is what we're in. But they're gaining speed. Their game against PSG probably gave them some confidence. The other aspect to this game is of the two clubs, only one of them had a European fixture midweek. And you'd think it's Bayern München, but no, it's Union Berlin. They played Ajax on Thursday.
Right.
And Bayern München had all week off to prepare for this game at home. So the stacks were against Union Berlin in a couple different ways. Could they have done better? It was a little frustrating, unfortunately, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Bayern München set themselves 3 points apart from Union Berlin.
But only from Union, because Dortmund won again. Another shutout, too.
That's right.
Against the not so mighty Hoffenheim. John Brooks finds himself back on the bench. he was not the answer for their defensive woes.
With John Brooks, too. So Dortmund, the other game we're going in, Dortmund beat Hoffenheim. 1-0, but still a shutout. Dortmund's defense, which was their big issue, as we've talked about many times, as you see, we've seen improvement. But going back to John Brooks, who walked straight into the squad from Portugal for some reason after sitting on the bench for essentially a year, including the end of last season at Wolfsburg, he was not the answer. Like you said, it's been pretty sloppy. So much so that 3 or 4 games in, under new coach Pellegrino Matarazzo, the great Italian American from New Jersey, his replacement replaced him today, and he got injured 30 minutes in, and another center back came on to replace him. So John Brooks, despite the injury, despite the 30-minute substitution for Hoffenheim, John Brooks was not called upon.
It's number 4. He's now number 4.
He's like 4th place on the list now. He went straight back to being on the bottom of the list. Where he belongs. He needs to get back in shape again. He needs to practice. He's out of form. We haven't seen the best John Brooks in well over 2 seasons now. So, John Brooks, I wish you the best. Work hard, earn your spot. Mach hin. But right now, you are out of form. Jonathan Brooks is out of form. Yeah.
You heard it here first. Out of form.
John Brooks was right.
Out of form.
John Anthony Brooks is
out of form.
But you know who's in form?
Who?
Julian Brandt.
Julian Brandt in form.
Julian Brandt, who's had a very hide-and-go-seek career, right? He was a young Bayer Leverkusen whippersnapper, and he was a key figure. He was there. He was on the 2014 roster, right? Is he that? Or am I thinking 2018? I don't remember, but he was around. Then he was a little off form. He sat on the bench for a while, and in Dortmund, he couldn't get much minutes. But as of late, during Dortmund's last run of good form, Julian Brandt, much to the chagrin of our good friend Giovanni Reina, Julian Brandt is in form. He's scoring. He's playing. He's scoring so much he scores off the bottom of his back, Bjorn.
I know, that's weird. This was like when Lampard went on that tear for NYCFC, and he scored goals with his nipple and his butt cheek and his knee, and the ball just would bounce off of him. That's what is happening to Julian Brandt. I mean, they're working hard, and now they're getting a little lucky. It's all right. They deserve it.
Like the New York Red Bulls sporting director once says, with luck and momentum, he will move forward. So they're getting their luck to get momentum. Something else we haven't really touched on, which we'll maybe touch on a little bit, is the fact that Dortmund also had a midweek game. Right? Or was it 2 weeks ago?
They did? No, that was the Chelsea game. That was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that was 2 weeks ago. Sorry.
Yeah.
No,
this week, if you want to talk about Champions League, we had
RB Leipzig.
RB Leipzig, they did respectably, but probably didn't do enough. And then poor Frankfurt got slammed.
Right. Which we assume Napoli is like the hottest team in Italy, one of the hottest teams in Europe right now.
But that game was worse than the result suggests. Like if you're losing in a 2-leg series, if you're losing 2-0 at home, that's not great, even in the age of no away goal tiebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
But this could have been so much worse.
Right.
they were really outplayed this game.
Give it to Napoli, man. There's something in the water there. Napoli's figuring it out. Good on them. They're
Yeah.
just a hot team right now, and Italy needs it because when was the last time an Italian club challenged the Champions League? It's been a few seasons. And then I would argue the same for RB Leipzig and Man City. The result was much more favorable than the performance.
Then the game, yeah, it's true. Yeah, exactly.
In the first half, RB Leipzig wasn't even in the game. It was just Man City the whole half. And then great halftime team talk from Marco Rosa, I guess. And they went out there and they finally played a game. They finally played some football in the second half, and they're able to get an equalizer. But still, it's 1-1 at home, and now they have to go up to Manchester. So
Yeah.
1-1 probably wasn't enough. That was the Champions League wrap. But the Europa League, the German clubs are doing a little bit better, I would say. Union Berlin eliminated Ajax 3-1. Good on them. Good on Union Berlin.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I think Freiburg also got their win. Before I start talking, I'm going to look up these exact scores.
I got you.
But Union Berlin is one of these things where they're a little club that growed really fast, doing really great work. And kind of like what Bochum went through in like 2004, they have all these titles. Did they have the Europe? They got the Bundesliga. They got the Pokal. I don't know if they're still in that. Perhaps they're still in that. But for a small club like that, when they get spread thin, that could be challenging. That could almost be a death punch, you know. Remember in Bochum under Peter Neuer when they got into Europe and they got to play in UEFA Europa League?
One game or two games immediately got kicked out.
Well, but they had a whole group stage, right? Or what?
I don't think so. I think it was just two. I think back then it was just two legs and they immediately lost.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, then
I don't think I was like, what? What are you talking about? I don't think this was never a big problem. Never a problem for Bochum. Like
maybe
having to navigate 3 competitions. That was only like 3 weeks one time in the mid-90s. Yeah.
Okay, I misremember. No, I'm talking like 2006. Are you sure they weren't
2006? What? All right.
I have. You're right. I'm probably wrong, but I remember in the early aughts, Bochum were in great shape. What's that Dutch keeper's name? Rein van something or other. He was the Dutch keeper in the early aughts.
Yeah. Rein van Dijnhoven.
Something like that. And he broke a record of like the amount of minutes not conceding at home or something. And they were great. I think they finished sixth or seventh spot that season, right? They were great. And then they got into the UEFA Europa League.
Oh, you're right. They did. That's true. I was remembering the 96-97, but they also made it again in 2003, 2004. That's true.
Boom, bingo. And that.
Look at you, trivia man.
Mr. Trivia Man. But, well, I was watching a lot of Bundesliga back then. And also following Bochum, because like I said, my dad's from Bochum. It's his club, so I followed it closely. And I really liked Peter Neuer. Like, they beat Bayern München 1-0 in München that year, scored by a player, Peter Maya, I think his name was. I forgot his name.
All right.
Anyway, these are memories. But the reason I bring that up is because they were never the same after that. Because the following season, they had the Pokal, the league, and the Europa League. And for a small club like that, they were spread a little too thin. And I think they got relegated, and they haven't. And they were in the second division until last season from that year, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think it's like that. Like they were relegated in 05, 06, something like that, and they were a second division club all the way up until a season ago. I think something like that. But anyway, the reason I bring it up is because Union Berlin might have that same issue. You got Europa League, you got the Bundesliga, you got the Pokal. I think they're doing a really good job balancing all three. But for a club that doesn't have the same depth as Bayern München, that's always like you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
You have to be like, we choose one of these competitions to focus on. Or else it could be kiss of death. The kiss of death. Back to Zander in the chat.
Kiss of death.
The kiss of death. The delay isn't back, is it?
No.
Okay, good. I was worried for a second. Okay, Zander.
No, I was checking briefly on the Europa League. All the German teams advance in the Europa League. Leverkusen, Union. Leverkusen needed penalty kicks.
The Leverkusen Monaco game was so much fun. Did you watch it?
I did not.
It was also great because who's Monaco's goalkeeper?
Yeah, Mr. Nubel.
And I'll tell you, I mean, maybe I'm being unfair. He let a lot of goals go past him. You know, it wasn't he wasn't super sharp. For a guy who's been talking a big game about replacing Neuer and so forth, he's still a little young. Maybe I'm being unfair, but yeah, Bayer Leverkusen overturned a 3-2 home loss, and then he did a 3-2 win in Monaco. They did the exact opposite score, took them to penalties, and German clubs tend to win penalties. That one Chelsea Champions League final notwithstanding.
More often than not.
So Bayer Leverkusen, by the skin of their teeth, knocked off Monaco and moved forward. Union Berlin knocked out Ajax. Freiburg, who'd they knock out again? Freiburg, Roma or something?
Freiburg in the Europa Conference.
Oh, is that the conference? What did I mix them up with? Man United, Roma, Salzburg is out. Union Berlin's through. Leverkusen's through. Is it just those two teams? I swear I'm missing a third team.
I think that's it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's Union Berlin, Leverkusen are the only... Oh, and Freiburg. Freiburg play Juventus. So Freiburg play Juventus in the round of 16. They knocked someone out in the round of 32. Who did they knock out in the round?
Well, Freiburg is going to play.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't. Right. Okay.
Freiburg knocked out. What the heck? They're missing a thing. I swear Freiburg played someone. Freiburg.
They won their group.
Oh, maybe because they won their group, they go straight to the round of 16. They didn't have to do the round of 32.
Oh, right. They're going to be in the round of 16 against Juve. Yeah, that's in March.
So we've got 3 German clubs left in the Europa League: Union Berlin, Freiburg, and Leverkusen. Good on them.
Right. Sorry, momentary lapse.
It's okay.
And we have 4, and we've got 4 teams in the Champions League, of which really we only have full faith in one.
I was going to say, how many German clubs are going to be in the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League, do you think?
I'm going to go 2. Ugh, I don't really even believe that. I don't think Dortmund... Right. I mean, Dortmund could get a draw at Chelsea, actually. Chelsea are a mess. So let's go 2. I'll say 2.
My heart says 2 as well. My head says 1, right? My head says Bayern München will manage PSG, and that's it. I think Chelsea might be able to turn the score around at home because it's just a 1-0. And then Napoli is said bye-bye to Frankfurt pretty much.
Yeah, that ship has sailed, and I think City will also beat
Leipzig at home comfortably. Now, I think they'll get a 2-0. They'll get that win. So my head says 1, but my heart says maybe Dortmund could pull it off because Chelsea lost to Southampton.
Chelsea lost again to Tottenham.
Right. 2-0, I believe.
If Dortmund, if the new Dortmund defense is for real, because Chelsea is having real trouble scoring, and so if the Dortmund defense is for real, then they might do something.
100%. So it's a 1.5. 1.5. But we are rooting for Dortmund to make it through the quarterfinals.
We're rooting for everyone.
Rooting for everybody.
But
what if Eintracht Frankfurt went to Napoli and won 3-0? Who knows? Maybe.
That's not going to happen.
Maybe. Go Frankfurt. All I know is the German clubs in Europe still going pretty strong. All right, back to unless you have any other last thoughts on German clubs in Europa?
I do not.
Okay, back to our friend Xander.
This is all going to take a couple of weeks. No Champions League or Europa League this week.
Is there an internet? Is it just they're taking a week off?
There's nothing. We have no. In England, they have the FA Cup. That's not really our department.
Is there a
other than there's nothing.
No, I want to look.
Finally, the people get a rest.
Is Union Berlin still in the Pokal? Double check. I know Bayern München, I think, got Freiburg in the quarters. I'm trying to think where.
No, we have quarters only. So yes, they are on the road we have Frankfurt Union. This is not until April.
Got
We
it.
have Frankfurt
yeah.
Union, Bayern against Freiburg, Nuremberg, the only Zweitligist,
Yeah.
the only second division team at home against Stuttgart, perhaps future
I was going to
Zweitligist.
say, close.
Leipzig, and the big one, Leipzig versus Dortmund.
Well, here we go. So we got quarterfinals, 4 games. 3 of them are full European matchups because all 6 clubs, Freiburg, Bayern, Berlin, Frankfurt, Leipzig, and Dortmund, are still in Europe.
Yeah, but they
with
probably
one
won't
exception.
be. They probably won't be at that
by
point.
April, yeah, perhaps. And then the other club is Nürnberg, Stuttgart, the 2 little giant killers, maybe we'll call them.
Right, the southern derby-ish.
Die Kleine, the little ones. Okay, so they'll be fun. But like you said, that's in April. Yeah, we get a little bit of a rest. Good. The players need some rest. They've been playing a lot of soccer lately.
Yeah.
Okay, Zander, I think Mainz, as a Mainz fan, we have a nice little team. The likes of Barreiro, Stach, and Lee. Who knows if we can break into that 6th place spot? How Mainz with Bo Svensson is steady. I imagine, however, Mainz with Bo Svensson is steadily progressing. I agree.
They find good coaches in Mainz.
Yeah, Mainz is where Klopp is from. Mainz is where Tuchel is from. Mainz is like a great little coaching school. It's like a coach's club. It's a great place for a coach to, I guess, figure out how to do it. You know, I know the story with Jurgen Klopp was that what was his name? There was an older German coach, Wolfgang. I forgot his name.
Wolfgang Hans. No.
I think it started with an F. But essentially, it's where Jurgen Klopp got his high press from. Yeah. And Jurgen Klopp was the senior player, and they had a way they played that they liked. And then the coach was fired. And then none of the new coaches ever stuck. So the board just told Jurgen Klopp, listen, you're the senior player. You're the team captain. You know how you guys play. Why don't you just do it yourselves? Like, figure it out. So he was like the coach, quote unquote, when he was a player. He was like a player coach.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like pretty unofficial. And that was the beginning of Jurgen Klopp being a great coach. And then he was the coach after that.
Wolfgang Frank is the name of the man.
Thank you, Wolfgang Frank. I knew it started with an F. Wolfgang Frank, a lesser-known German coach, but he was Jurgen Klopp's mentor. And
influence, yeah.
And a lot of how we play soccer today stems from his teachings, Wolfgang Frank alongside Ralf Rangnick, yeah. But yeah, so good on Mainz. Zander, who is your favorite? What's going on in Mainz? Why are they going to break in that 6th place spot, Zander? Like, is it in the water?
They have a good team and they have a good coach.
All right, a good team and a good coach.
Is it something in the water? Is that what Zander should say? Yes. The truth to our success is we drink our own urine every morning. This is this is the thing we do, and it makes us strong.
Well, good on you guys. I'm rooting for you too, Mainz. Like I said, I was in Mainz recently, had a great time. It's a great club, great stadium. Stadium.
They are. Let's not to be raining on the parade, but they're like 6 points behind. I think the 6th place is far away still for Mainz.
Yeah, but even for them,
not to rain on anyone's parade, but I think those top teams, the Frankfurt, Freiburg, Leipzig, Union, Dortmund, München. That might be the European squad. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, even to finish 8th, right? It's a good spot.
Yeah.
Over all sorts of clubs. Mainz is punching above their belt.
For sure.
No,
not at all looking to to minimize what they're doing. It's great.
Yeah, and they destroyed. They haven't just been winning; they've been crushing. It was a 4-0 over the weekend against Gladbach. Let's look over the other scores. If there are any big surprising scores, Schalke winning. That's sort of a kind of a surprising score, wasn't it? Let's take a look here.
Well, Schalke they've been good, and they've been at home against Stuttgart. I mean, this was kind of do or die for them, right? Against fellow relegation candidate Stuttgart. And now this sets up now for the derby of all derbies next Saturday. Bochum against Schalke.
Oh, how do you feel about that?
Bochum extremely worried about it.
Bochum with a tough loss over the weekend against Werder Bremen.
If by tough you mean completely never in doubt, pathetic defending, yes.
Sure.
I mean, it
Was it
wasn't tough.
Lapa?
It wasn't tough in the sense that it was unlucky in any way, or it's like for a little bit of analysis here,
Please.
over the course of the season, we've seen two different approaches from Dortmund. One is to defend, and the other is not to defend. I felt that the defending worked better. There were victories. We got some points. We got out of the relegation spot, but the team has decided to go back to not defending.
To clarify, by defending, you mean holding tight, hitting on the counter, right? And by not defending, you mean grabbing the ball and just going at him?
No, I just mean by defending, I mean you defend. And by not defending, I mean you're just shit at defending. Which apparently is what we're back to doing, even though the other thing seemed to work better. I don't know.
You should call them and tell them, hey, listen, guys,
be like,
you go back
to
to
defending. The defending worked better. Do that again.
Remember, when they come at you, you should call them on the phone. Listen, when they come at you with the ball, do your best to get the ball away from the attacker. Like, go block the attacker. Yeah.
Even my friends who, my English/Scottish friends who don't watch Bundesliga at all, know about Füllkrug since the World Cup. Right? He's a cult hero.
Right.
You don't need to leave him alone in the box. If you're a defender and there's Füllkrug, who's like the leading Bundesliga scorer in the box, you should pay attention to that. That's my take. You shouldn't just sort of wait for somebody to pass to him. Yeah, I don't know. It was shit. It was very, very bad game. 3 goals. Again, could have been more. And I mean, there are a lot of injuries. We have to say Captain Toto Luzia is got a red card and is suspended. And there's a bunch of the back line keeps changing because there's injuries. And so, I don't mean to be not understanding of these circumstances, but it's like Christoph Biermann said, if you defend like that, you're going to go down. That's just how it is. There's just they just don't have enough room for error. They don't have the offensive weapons to make up 3 goals. It's not Dortmund that could pull out can bring Giorena and Bino, Loftus-Cheek, Gibbons, Alexander Arnold off the bench. That's not that. We don't have that kind of. We don't have those kinds of weapons. So if you're not, it starts with that. If you can't defend, then you're screwed. And this is the big one. Schalke has been last. They had a bunch of points. We're a bunch of points behind. No more. If they win this game, they're back ahead. They're back ahead of Bochum.
And there'll be a 4-way
and then
tie
Bochum will be last again.
Right.
And
is it in Bochum or in Gelsenkirchen?
It's in Bochum. It's in Bochum.
Right.
But I mean, Schalke is not far. They're going to bring. Bring some people along. This is going to be a bloodbath. Thomas Reis is coming back to his old. I mean, you're a neutral observer, especially, this is like every American's pro-rel wet dream personified. This game.
Yeah.
This is everything. It's going to be, it's going to be an absolute bloodbath.
It's a 6-pointer relegation super game. So that's your recommendation for the weekend, is to watch.
I mean, it's going to be ugly as fuck.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not neutral. I'm not neutral, so I'm going to suffer and suffer.
But Bochum needs to hold tight, man mark. That's what you're saying. Man mark well and hit him on the counter. I mean, that's just scratch out some points.
I don't have any. I mean, I was joking, obviously, about this being kind of deep analysis. I just suggest defending. That's what I would suggest that to basically almost any team. It's good to defend. Defending is useful. If you prevent a goal, that's 1 goal you don't have to score.
It did take me a second to realize. I was like, wait a minute.
That was that
what do you
dry. I
mean?
was doing that dry.
Dry
I was
German
doing
humor.
that dry German humor.
Humor sometimes doesn't translate to English super well. But
You're
yeah,
like, wait, when you say defending, you mean like, no, I just mean defend.
I was like, I'll help you out with this analysis, I guess. I don't know. Now I get it. So if the defenders do the thing that's called defending, you're
Just
going to be in better shape.
just do the thing.
Yeah. Well, I wish him the best of luck. As you know, half my heart is in Bochum. You know how there's a 6 degrees of Stefan Schutte? I just learned that I have a second cousin who is a season ticket holder at Union Berlin and goes to every game, including the road games. And he's a do or die
including that's great.
Road games. Well, in Germany, that's not that big of a challenge.
It's easier to do than in the US.
Like
well,
in the
but
US.
still, big commitment.
Like, for instance, if you went to the Ajax game in Amsterdam, that's what? 4-hour train ride? Maybe 5?
From Berlin? Probably a little more.
But they also have the high-speed rail, remember. From Berlin to Hamburg, it's like 3 hours, because I've done that before.
Yeah.
And from Hamburg on to Amsterdam's another, 2 hours?
Berlin to Amsterdam is probably 6 hours, I would say.
They don't have like a high-speed train that's probably like 4 hours? They might.
Well, but because you still have to go through, you probably have to go through my neck of the woods to get there, because there's no direct.
You probably go to Dusseldorf.
I'm going to look it up.
Either way, but for instance, just as an example, that 6-hour trip is like the longest road trip he's going to take all season, right?
6 hours and 16 minutes
via the train.
It's the fastest connection.
But that's an example of the longest road game you're going to do all season. We're here in the U.S., that's like average. Like the nearest road game, like New York to Philly isn't 6 hours, but like if New York to Boston, New York to D.C., if there's traffic, could be 6 hours. You never know. Anywho, the only last topic is, I guess there's a couple things, but Rudi Völler did a long interview on Sportbild. So I'll try to listen to that and break that down for the next time.
Oh,
but
cool.
The highlight is they asked about Neuer as the Neuer drama continues. There was a photo released over the weekend of Manuel Neuer walking to München walk to the stadium to watch the Bayern München Union Berlin game, and he was walking without crutches or anything. He was just walking to watch the stadium. So here we are 2 months or 3 months after his great fall, and he seems to not even be on crutches anymore. So maybe his recovery will go a little faster than we anticipated. But Rudi Völler was asked...
go ahead, please.
Rudi Völler was asked about if he's going to be involved in the national team again. And Rudi Völler, in his new position as DFB chef or whatever that... Not DFB chef, the national team director, said that Sportdirektor said that he is still in consideration as long as he's healthy. It's like he has no interest in claiming that he's no longer going to be the German goalkeeper anymore. He just said, Manuel Neuer, if he's healthy and in good shape, he'll be our number one again. That's what he said. So,
I mean, what is he going to say? He's going to say, nope, that's over. You go skiing? What is that? That's no, he's not going to say that. Of course he has to be like, oh, yeah, the best, may the best man win.
That's why I want Lothar Matthäus to be the Sportdirektor, because he would not say that. That dude's got a mouth on him.
That's why Lothar Matthäus will never be Sportdirektor.
Lothar Matthäus, who earlier in the week said Urs Fischer is the best coach in the Bundesliga. He can coach anywhere, especially Bayern. Wink, wink is what he said.
Nobody really, we don't have any kind of personal, we don't really know this, but like nobody really seems to love Julian Nagelsmann. It's very few. It's nobody kind of goes out of their way to be like, that guy, solid guy.
But also Matthäus has a big old mouth on him. He likes to say crazy.
Well, he likes to. He's the shit stirrer of all shit stirrers, of course.
Famously fired from my team for going to Saint Tropez during a league game.
Fired. I guess
he was cut.
Right,
he was
but
fired.
like, did he care? Probably
no.
not.
But still, I mean, how many players in MLS history have been fired for skipping? He must. I can't think of too many other players in the entire history of the 27-year MLS league that got fired for something that he did. You know what I mean? Right. I can't think of too many. So that's Lothar Matthäus.
Lothar Matthäus. So let's start. Let's keep the goalie, the Bayern goalie watch going. So there's 4, right? 4 candidates.
Well, who's the 4th?
Well, this got thrown into. Well, there's Manuel Neuer. Jan
Sommer. Right?
Jan Sommer currently's got the job. There's Nübel, who's in Monaco, but under contract in Bayern. And then there's the Dortmund keeper, Kobel, who people say
really
Bayern wants to get.
That could just be Bayern trolling Borussia Dortmund.
So what do we think? And we're going to keep updating this every week. Current depth chart with Neuer healthy.
Well, you are right that Neuer and Sommer are older, so they do need a long-term replacement. And
but
right
not
now,
that old, but not like immediately.
They're both in mid-30s, right? Yeah, in a couple seasons, right? In a couple seasons. I'm saying long-term. Like when they got Kahn, he was young from Karlsruhe, and he gave him 12 seasons. They bought Neuer, young from Schalke, right? And he gave them a career. Now they need that next guy coming up soon in the next season or 2 or 3. And you're saying, who is that guy? Is the guy from Monaco? I don't know. I don't think so. Right?
Well, I guess that is gonna sort itself out this summer because his contract's up or his loan is up, and so then he'll either come back or not. And then I guess by that point, the Neuer's going to be ready again, and then this will all sort itself out. And Kobel's not coming to be backup. So if they're gonna, it's just wild. It's just kind of, this speaks to the. Well, anyway,
Sommer's in great shape. He's 34. You can give him. Can he give him 3 or 4 more seasons? Maybe.
But Sommer, nobody seems to want him to be there for a long time. It seems like, it's just a wild situation. You just don't see that often, that there's all these people in the mix, and it's hard to see how it's all gonna shake out.
Yeah, maybe Gigi Buffon will come in.
Donnarumma. Sean Johnson thought maybe he should be in the mix.
Zach Steffen, perhaps. Gaga Slonina. There you go. Maybe he's the young whippersnapper.
These are all names of goalkeepers.
So yeah, the Bayern München goalkeeper watch is ongoing here on the Schnitzel Boys. But overall, German clubs in Europe doing okay. Hopefully 1 or 2 will get through to the Champions League, but we got 3 in the Europa Liga. The bottom of the table and the top of the table are exciting. When's the Dortmund Bayern München super clash?
Speak for yourself, man. This is not exciting. It's stressful.
It is hard.
I really didn't have any hope for most of the season. I thought we would go the way of Fürth last year, but then
Thomas Lech,
they gave us hope, and now they're going to crush us. We're going to lose at home to Schalke, and it's going to be fucking awful.
PMA, Bjorn. PMA. Positive mental attitude, okay? Schalke has 3 points less and $300 million more.
Not over the last few weeks, they don't.
But on the table, isn't it 19 points with Bochum and 16 points with Schalke? Yeah. So I think Bochum will do it. They're at home. Grunemeyer will be there. And
really?
I mean, well, I would, right? If I were rich, why wouldn't he be? What, is he busy? Is he on tour?
I don't think he's not a regular. He's not a regular visitor.
He's busy selling out Madison Square Garden that weekend, unfortunately. So
anyway, all right.
Anywho, that's for this week. And Deutsches Fußball, thank you, Zander, and thank you to our other fans hopping in and our regulars. The Schnitzel party is live every Monday night to hop in and talk to us. And we love to hear from you. We love to talk to you because the show is run by fans like you and fans like us because it's a fan party. The English language Bundesliga German soccer fan party brought to you by the Schnitzel Boys. Everybody, if you're interested in American stuff, hey, Tom, there you are. I was going to say, Tom.
I'm just in time.
Tom. We love you every week. We got an American hour coming right up. If you want the American stuff, hop in. Otherwise, you all
MLS is back.
Tschüss. Bis nächste Woche.